G'day everyone. Robin and I are out cruising around the neighbourhood here today. Robin's over here on Oscar. I'm riding Mr. Ray. And I just thought I would have a bit of a chat about something I talk about quite a bit at horse expos. And when I present at horse expos, a lot of times in the explaining of how horses work and how they think and, you know, the principles behind things we do with them, I will say to people, you complain about the things you've taught your horse to do. And of course everybody goes, no, I don't complain about the things I've taught my horse to do, but my horse does some things that I'm not real happy about. But if you really, a lot of times, if you really think about how that habit that you don't like that your horse has, how it came about, a lot of times it's because we have inadvertently caused that to happen. And I'll give you a good example. Recently I had an email from someone saying, so you've got a lot of videos on separation anxiety in horses. So when one horse goes away from another horse, how to solve that? She says, but I've got a different problem that I don't see a video for. My horse has separation anxiety from me. So when I leave my horse alone and walk away, my horse freaks out and wants to come back to me. And so my response to her was, so how's your groundwork? And she said, well, because when I ask how's your groundwork encompasses a lot of things. How is your relationship with your horse? Do you guys have a healthy relationship? And that healthy relationship includes boundaries, and it also includes balance. And so anyway, she got back to me. She says, well, I haven't done any groundwork for a long time, but I do a lot of liberty work. I do a lot of walking with him out at liberty. So I have to have a lot of draw. Well, maybe I said to her, usually horses that are attached to people have too much draw, not enough drive, which means they are clingy to a person. Anyway, in her response, she said, well, I haven't done much groundwork for a long time, but I do a lot of liberty work, and we do a lot of riding out. Let me switch hands here. We do a lot of walking out at liberty. So she obviously goes out into, the wide open world at liberty. And so she said, so we have to have a lot of draw. And the thing about that is, there's an old saying, our vices are in excess of our virtues. Now, having draw where the horse is good, but only having draw and no drive is not only is it not good, it's not normal. Like if you think about, like I've said it a lot with the foals before, I would rather have a foal that wouldn't come anywhere near me than a foal I couldn't get off me. Because for a prey animal to be so attracted to a predator they want to be climbing all over the top of them is not normal. But for a prey animal to want to run away from a predator is perfectly normal. So, that's a good place to start is having a horse doesn't want to come in near you. That's good. Now we've got a natural balance going on here. Now we've got to work on that. But it's not normal for a horse to be all over the top of you. So, but anyway, with this situation, the problem that she wants to fix is actually caused by what she's doing. And it is not important to take your horse out walking at liberty. Okay, that's not a necessity. That's something she chooses to do. But the amount of draw that she has in doing that is what's causing the problem. And so, this whole thing is about, you complain about the things you've taught your horse to do, and this lady's complaining about this problem that she has without actually realizing that the way she chooses to interact with her horse is actually causing the problem in the first place. So that's one of the ways people will cause those problems is having too much of one thing. Okay, our vices are in excess of our virtues. But another way that people can have problems is, one of the principles of training is anticipation's your best friend, your worst enemy. And a lot of times people will teach their horses to anticipate without realizing they're teaching to anticipate. And want to solve the problem that anticipation causes. And I recently did a private clinic a couple of days for a lovely family, and the first horse I got to work with was the husband, and he said his horse is quite pushy. Like when he goes to catch his horse in the stall, his horse is quite pushy and wants to push into him, and he wanted to know how to fix the pushiness. And so we go in the barn, so the horse is in a stall, next to other horses, and the horse is standing in the stall completely relaxed, like not concerned at all. And we walk in there anyway. So I said, okay, let's go ahead and catch your horse. So he picks up the halter, and as soon as he picks up the halter from the hook outside the stall, this horse starts weaving back and forth. Like this horse went from relaxed to quite anxious, because this horse knows what's going to come next. And I said, hey, let's just hang out here a minute, because there's no use going in there. That horse was not pushy. Like that horse was standing in the confines of the stall and wasn't pushy until you pick the halter up. And now your horse is actually pushing on the wall. Like your horse is like, get this wall out of the way and I will be going somewhere. And so we stood there for 10 minutes and talked, and eventually this horse settled back down and was no longer anticipating that the next thing was going to happen was he was going to come in and catch the horse. And by the time we actually opened the door to go in and catch the horse was no longer pushy, because the horse was no longer anticipating what was going to come next. And so sometimes you don't need to fix the problem. You just need to not cause the problem in the first place. So anyway, that's my little bit of a talk for today. And that's probably a good way to finish it up is, instead of trying to fix the problem, let's look at why the problems are there in the first place and change our interactions with our horses so that we're not creating the problem. So anyway, hope that helps. See you guys next time.